Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. I hope you are doing great. So welcome back to the series of English lessons. So today we're going to see a topic related to means of transport, وسائل النقل. Now the first question we ask is that how do we travel to or how do we go to؟ يعني بنسولو كيفاش كنسافروا ولا كيفاش كنتنقلوا. So we're going to use this form of questions. How do you travel to Casablanca, for example? How do you go to school, for example? Okay, and now we start learning the means of transport one by one, and we will use them in a kind of question and answer, okay? So, how do you travel to Marrakesh? How do you travel to Marrakesh? I travel to Marrakesh by car. I travel to Marrakesh by car. Now let's see the second mean of transport, which is bus. Bus, and it's not bus, bus. So, how do you go to work? كيف تذهب إلى العمل? How do you go to work? I go to work by bus. I go to work by bus. So you notice here we add a preposition by before bus. The next item of means of transport is train. Train, it's not train, train. So how do you travel to Rabat? How do you travel to Rabat? I travel to Rabat by train. I travel to Rabat by train. Again, here we use the preposition by before the word train. Next item, bike or bicycle. So either we say bike or bicycle. How do you go to school? How do you go to school? I go to school by bike. I go to school by bike or bicycle. Now, how do you go to the supermarket? How do you go to the supermarket? I go to the supermarket by taxi. I go to the supermarket by taxi. How do you go to the gym? How do you go to the gym? I go to the gym on foot. I go to the gym on foot. Notice here that we don't use by foot. We say on foot. This is an exception, okay? On foot. يعني على قدمي ولا على رجلي. How does your father travel to Canada? How does your father travel to Canada? He travels by aeroplane or airplane. Or we can just say plane. So he travels by aeroplane or airplane or just plane. How do you go to the top of the mountains? How do you go to the top of the mountain? So I go by a helicopter. I go by a helicopter. How does your friend travel to Spain? How does your friend travel to Spain? He travels by a ship. He travels by a ship. How do the tourists go on a trip to Camden? How do the tourists go on a trip to Camden? They go by a van. They go by a van. How do you move your goods to the market? How do you move your goods to the market? Goods مبيعات للمنتوجات ديالك اللي غتبيع مثلا. I move them by a truck. I move them by a truck. Now, how do you go on a trip in the river? How do you go on a trip in the river? River, نهر. So I go by a boat. I go by a boat. How does your brother go to work? How does your brother go to work? He goes to work by a motorcycle or motorbike. He goes to work by a motorcycle. How does Amina go to school? How does Amina go to school? She goes to school by a bicycle. She goes to school by a bicycle. Now here is an exercise for you in which you are going to match the names with the pictures of means of transport. So first we have car, train, ship, helicopter, boat, bus, aeroplane, truck, van, foot, motorbike, and bicycle. Try to write the right number or the correct number in the correct picture of the means of transport. So here are the keys to the exercise that we have seen before, and you will find the numbers of the means of transport under the correct picture. For example, foot, number 10, bicycle, number 12, motorbike or motorcycle. Number 11. Number 2 is a train. Number 6 is a bus. Number 8 is a truck. Number 3 is ship. Number 4 is an helicopter. Number 7 is an aeroplane. Now here is another exercise for you, just to practice writing the names of means of transport. So there is a blank left under each picture. Try to write the correct name of each means of transport. And at the end we have a short dialogue. It's between Mary and Jack, talking about means of transport, how do they go to school and stuff like that. So Mary, hello Jack. Jack, hi Mary. Mary, how do you go to school? Jack, I go by bus and sometimes by bike. And you? Mary, I go on foot and sometimes Dad takes me in his car. Jack, how does your mother go to work? Mary, she goes by train. She works far from our house. Jack, what's your favorite means of transport? Mary, my favorite means of transport is motorcycle. Jack, oh really? Me too. Alright, so we come to the end of this presentation. It was about means of transport. Now I hope you understand the different types of means of transport that we have and the questions we ask when we ask someone about how does he travel or how does he go to another place, for example. And pay attention to preposition that we use before the means of transport. We use on with foot. So on the by with the taxi, car and bike and train, etc. And thank you very much and stay safe, and don't forget to share this with your friends, students and anyone who want to learn English. Thank you again. Bye.